Hello, everyone. For the most part, reality is pretty fixed. It's like we live in a room of stone, with all the walls made out of stone, and no matter how much we hit our fist against it, we cannot get out. But occasionally, a crack in reality occurs, and when this happens, nonsense is allowed to break loose. And when this happens, impossible things can occur. One such story is about a boy named Wilson, which I will be telling. And I will be telling it from his own journal. I have it here. You can trust me, I have it right here. But anyways, Wilson often thought back on the warm summer days of his childhood as he grew older. And the one memory that always stood out the most to him was that of Charlie the Duck. Now, Wilson liked to walk home from school. It was summertime, or getting close to it, and he enjoyed going out and just sort of relaxing and looking at the scenery. But anyways, one day he was walking down the road when suddenly he heard a quack, quack, quack behind him. And he turned around and he looked, and he saw a big white duck coming running up towards him. And the duck ran up and it stopped and it looked straight at him and it quacked some more. And Wilson laughed and he allowed him to follow him home, and the duck followed him all the way home. Then it turned back and headed back to the pond. Well, every day since then, whenever Wilson would walk by, the duck would follow him. Wilson took a liking to the duck and he decided to name him Charlie. Charlie would always walk right beside Wilson, and he'd look up at him and go quack, 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 almost as if he was having a conversation. And sometimes Wilson would give the duck breadcrumbs, but this went on for some time. But eventually one day Wilson was passing by the road, and he realized that Charlie wasn't there anymore. He was gone. He didn't know what happened to him. He asked the farmer, but the farmer didn't even know about a duck. So Wilson went home, and he was depressed, and he sat down. And as he was sitting there, he heard his mom crying in the opposite room, and he walked in, and he asked his mother, "Mother, what is wrong?" And his mother explained. She said that she'd found out that her brother, Alfred, had died in the war. And she ran up and gave Wilson a hug, and Wilson was very sad, but when he went to bed that night, he thought about it, and he realized something. That when he was younger, he would always go for a walk with his Uncle Alfred. And Uncle Alfred used to wear a bright white suit, sort of like the one that I'm wearing, ironically enough. And Alfred would always talk to him and ask him about his day, and Alfred used to say those walks were some of the best moments of his life. So when they went to the funeral and they stared into the dead eyes of Alfred, and Wilson stared back, he couldn't help but wonder, was it possible? Could it be that there was a life after death, and that Charlie the Duck was the reincarnated soul of Uncle Alfred? We may never know, but there's always hope. This is a true story, and a very incredible one. As always, sweet dreams and good night.